All right, guys. Welcome. I know there's a number of you on here at the minute. All right, so guys, if you are here, please do give me the thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. I know there's already some things in here. Kevin, welcome. Ryan, welcome. Um, I'll get to the questions in a minute. Marika, welcome. Yeah, so I thought I'd jump on here really quickly because if you followed the video on Friday, you know that there's a collaboration going on with Stake at the moment, and it's a challenge between Anna and I over at Panda Boss. So we are going head to head over the next 6 weeks in the American stock market, focusing on specific sectors. So she chose green energy or renewable energy. I have chosen the tech sector as my area to invest in. So what I thought I'd do today is just highlight some of the stocks that I've picked that are on the list. Thank you to everyone, by the way, who actually suggested some companies, because let me just have a look at my sheet right here. There are 4 companies that ended up on the final list of companies that I've invested in that were suggestions from you guys. So thank you. I will give you guys a shout out on the video that I'll do on Friday when I talk about maybe some of the tools that I use to actually do a little bit of this research for your guys' benefit. So I thought what I'd do in this video, though, is just highlight the 15 companies that I've chosen, just so you can kind of see. And if you have any sort of questions or any comments on any of them, it'll be a great opportunity as well for you guys for us to have a conversation in the chat box. So by all means, feel free to use it. But bear with me 1 second while I just set one other thing up, guys. 1 second. All right. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to show you. I built a spreadsheet essentially where all of this company went in, and it's going to act as my center in terms of looking at the companies listed, some of my rationale behind it, so on and so forth. I might make this available. It's going to be available to my Discord group as a downloadable. So if they wanted to use it, obviously for their own research and use it to document the stocks that they're invested in, they can use it as well. I probably will make it available maybe to some of you guys as well. But to start off with, let me just have a look. There are a couple of comments in here. Let's just get to these before we get stuck in. So Kevin's asking here, would you class Tesla as a tech stock or an automotive stock? It straddles both, essentially. Tesla is a tech company, or at least that's the classification, but they essentially make cars. So they straddle across both of those sectors altogether. Let me have a look and see what else we have here. Cheers for that, Kev. All thumbs up on these ones. I will take this Panda out, Pete. Don't worry, Team Pete. You know what, guys? I actually really don't know how this is actually going to end up. At the end of the day, this is a 6-week thing. And unlike when you would, or I would typically be investing over the long term, some of the theories and some of the things that I would do invest in long term don't necessarily apply for this. With a long term view, when you're investing, you are essentially taking the view that a company is going to be worth more over the course of years. We're doing this in the course of weeks. So therefore, things like financial accounts and things like, understanding that if you're going to buy a stock in the markets where the crash, you've got enough time to weigh out and just live out that crash. Those things don't apply in this instance. If the market were to tank tomorrow, and just looking at some of the numbers, because I executed the trades for this afternoon, just before the markets in America opened. If the markets were to tank tomorrow, we pretty much wouldn't have any way of really salvaging our positions. Now, if I was doing this from a professional point of view, I had more time in the day. I could do all kinds of things. I could, use call options and cover call options and all this kind of stuff, right, to hedge my bets. The reality is I don't have the time to actually do that. And you would do a number of different things. I'm just looking at the markets today, looking at the tech sector today. The markets are not that great in the tech sector at the moment. And before I get onto the list of companies that I've actually bought in the process of this, I mean, at the moment, I am up slightly by about, what's this, 0.34% I'm up by at the moment. So, but if I look at the selection of companies, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 companies. So just under half of the companies, or around about half, if you want to, say about 7.5 or so, are in the red at this point in time. Now, if I was investing over the long term, this really wouldn't be that much of a worry, because for me, I'll be with the understanding that I bought these companies for the long term, and therefore the immediate volatility within the share price doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't matter, because I can afford to wait this out and I can afford to live this through. So this challenge is definitely going to be something different. I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of it, and some of it, will be down to pure luck of companies that we've chosen. Moment of exit, moment of entry, also will play into this as well. How volatile some of these stocks are. There's a lot going on in the background. There are some of these companies that will have Q1 results during this 6-week period. So potentially there is benefit if the Q1 results are positive, and I'm banking on that for a number of them. So let's just get into, I'm just going to share my screen with you guys and just let me know whether this is going to, it should be okay, but let me have a look quickly. Share the screen with you guys and I can actually show you the companies that I am working on, or I have bought literally this afternoon. All right, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Let me just see if I can put that here. Let me just see if I can configure this quickly. And maybe, there we go. So, right, let me just make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can actually see. So there are a number of these that have ended up on the list here. Let me just move this across. I don't know if this is going to make any difference for you guys, because I'm conscious that you guys have only got... right, bear me 1 second, guys, while I try and align this properly. Let's try this one here. All right, here we go. I think that's a little bit better for you guys. Right, so the 15 companies I'm having a look at altogether. Let me know if this is pixelated, guys. If it isn't, I'll just read this out to you. But one of the companies that I bought, so I bought Tesla. Obviously, I hold it within my portfolio at the moment. And they have done really, really well for me over the last year. I think with the new Biden bill, they are rumored to actually benefit from this quite significantly, being pretty much the only EV franchise or company in the States really with a large market share. The company and the share price is usually quite volatile. So I'm hoping over the next 6 weeks, this will be good for me altogether. And we've got Micron Technologies. They essentially produce microchips. Now, chips, and I've got a number of companies that do this specifically, semiconductors, developing chips and selling chips. So with Micron, you've got AMD, which is Advanced Micro Devices. You've also got the likes of, who else have we got in here as well? We have also got Qualcomm in here as well. So there's about 3 or 4. What I do with this portfolio, though, is try to a little bit of security into the portfolio. So as you will see down on the spreadsheet here, I actually have the likes of Alphabet, which is Google, Microsoft, and I've also got Apple in there. Now, these 3 companies I've put in purely for a little bit of security more than anything else. You guys are saying it's hard to save, so I'll get rid of this for the time being. And just talk you through the companies individually. So let me just stop sharing this all together. So yeah, what I've tried to do here is add a little bit of stability to the portfolio. So Microsoft, Apple, and Google, for me, are going to be the big companies that I believe they will still be traded because of the size of the companies that they are, should get a little bit of growth out of them. And if I look at the performance today, what's going on? Microsoft is actually up. Google's slightly down, and then Apple, where is Apple? Apple is slightly down as well. So one of the 3 at the minute acted there as a bit of a foundation. Within those three companies, I've allocated about 10% of the overall investment pot into those companies. So 30% is giving me a little bit of a foundation. And from that point onwards, I can actually then start to speculate with the rest of the companies. Now, interestingly enough, whether or not, and I don't know that I would do this within the stake platform itself, but what I could do is I could trade out. I could trade out positions on a daily basis if I needed to, just to ensure that if I did get any profit, I can probably get out. Again, this is all down to time, and this is the kind of stuff that you would do if you're trading professionally, right? You'll be looking at things like the volume, weighted average price of a stock at any given time to know when you're going to enter, to know when you're going to exit, to kind of know what's going on with the prices of these shares at any given time. Because I've got other things to do during the day, I'm not going to be really employing those kind of tactics. So part of this is going to be about holding the stocks over the next 6 weeks, but reviewing on a regular basis. I'll probably take a look at it once a day or so, and maybe take a look at it on a Friday over the next 6 weeks to really see, okay, is there maybe a stock that I maybe need to swap out at any given time in order to be able to make the best returns over the next 6 weeks? But for the time being, having only just gone into this today, it's up. It has been down for most of the afternoon. So it's a little bit up right now, not as much as I said it was before, about zero point 0.3. The markets are still open at this point in time. I think we've got about 2 hours or so left on the US markets before it closes. Let's have a look, actually. I think they might actually be closed now. So, what happens and how closely I begin to look at this will be interesting. But other companies that I've got in here as well, I have got Xpeng. Obviously, I wanted a little bit of a counter to to Tesla. I did have Neo in there, but you'll see this in the video on Friday. I looked at some of the analyst ratings. So analyst ratings are essentially what the sentiment is across a number of large institutional investors. So what are the big guys thinking who have large amounts of cash that they would typically used to trade these stocks? And what I tried to do in the criteria when I was doing a little bit of research was try to select a number of companies, or all of the companies, in fact, barring one, and I'll explain the one in a moment, that has a pretty good sentiment, positive sentiment behind them. Because a positive sentiment means that more people are likely to buy this stock because they feel that there's some value within that. So it maybe pushes the stock into the bear side in opposed to the bull side. So for me, Xpeng gives me a little bit of diversification or a little bit of a competition to Tesla as trading. I think as of today, is Xpeng actually up today or not? Let's have a look at this. 1 second. Xpeng at the moment is down 0.449%, so just about 0.5% down today. The next one we've got in there is Baidu, which is basically internet services, really, really big in China. I put those guys in there because there is good sentiment around this company specifically. And again, it's adding a little bit of something different to the tech criteria that I've actually got. Also within the semiconductor, we've also got NVIDIA as an option. Now, NVIDIA, they do a lot of stuff. I mean, I bought a 49-inch flat display, and this has got a NVIDIA chip within it. There are NVIDIA chips within Teslas now. They're doing really, really well, and the stock price over the last 12 months has done extremely well. So I've got that in there again in the semiconductor sort of arena of the tech industry itself. We've got advanced micro devices, again, similar to NVIDIA. Then I've got Roku, which is the online streaming business as well. Again, very, very big, really, really good in terms of their growth over the last 12 months. And the share price has been a little bit volatile, but I think with the sentiment that was behind it, again, a positive sentiment, all of these stocks, barring one, has a positive sentiment behind it. Hopefully we'll see really good trading volumes over the next few days. The next stock that I've got in here, and this is, actually I'm going to shout you out right now, Monolis. You gave us Autodesk, and having a look at Autodesk, I was really, really, really impressed with some of the information that came up with Autodesk in terms of they basically develop like CAD systems for engineers, architects, construction industry, really, really leading the way in that regard. And the Biden bill apparently is rumored to really actually benefit them as a company. There are a few stocks that I've actually researched that, whilst for this challenge, will be in this portfolio for the next 6 weeks, but I'm likely going to buy them in my own personal portfolio as well for as long-term investments as well. So Autodesk is in there. Thanks to Melonis for that. We've got Applied Materials in here as well, which is again actually another semiconductor displays and related industries. They do kind of like software chips, all that kind of stuff as well. We've got those in there. That was actually a suggestion as well from a subscriber, COM20. Then we've got CRISPR. Now, CRISPR is actually in the Cathie Wood's Genomics ETF. And I really like CRISPR because of the work that they're doing in the biotech industry and some of the research that they're doing around being able to cure, for example, pediatric blindness, so blindness when you're actually born. What they're trying to basically do is develop systems that they will actually rewrite some of the genes to actually cure blindness at birth. It's brilliant stuff. I've got sickle cell disease. They're working on a cure specifically for that, and that is around doing some work with, genomes and genetics, specifically cancers, also on the radar as well for them, diabetes. So I think with CRISPR, company that I would really like, that will probably end up in my long-term investment portfolio. Alongside those, now with Cathie Wood and the genomics, I've spoken about the genomics, I think, before on the channel. I really love that ETF. I'm actually looking to put a little bit of money into that ETF in the next month or so. But CRISPR, looking through and reading about the business and what they basically do, and from a personal note, them researching, cure to sickle cell disease and stuff like that, I think is really, really brilliant. And if they're able to crack that, I think will be great. You look at some of the research that the analysts and some of the commentary coming out from the analysts, there is very much this narrative right now that these kind of companies, it's a risk of not having it within your portfolio it's less of a risk having it in your portfolio than not actually having it in your portfolio. The same thing can be said for Tesla right now as well, because I was reading the piece about that just over the weekend. So CRISPR's in there as well. Then we've got obviously the ones that I've mentioned for stability, which is Alphabet, Google, Microsoft, and Apple. We've got Qualcomm, which again is another semiconductor provider. And then we've got AND Systems, which is again from Manolis. So thank you, Manolis. Qualcomm is actually from Mikhail Proskas. And again, with those, really, really good company in terms of what they're actually doing in the 5G space. This is Qualcomm, by the way. What they're doing in the 5G space is really, really, really good. So there's 15 companies that I've actually chosen there specifically for this challenge. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll see how the tech sector basically behaves. If I had to put money on some of the companies that I think will do really, really well, I think Microsoft will do well, Apple will do well, I think Google will do well. I would like to think Tesla will do well over that period of time. I think if Tesla does well, there's a good chance XPeng will do well as well. I would also probably say I'm excited about people like Autodesk. I'm excited about people like CRISPR. I'm also quite excited about, there was one other one which I don't think I've mentioned is going to end up in my Autodesk. Autodesk will end up in my long-term portfolio. So I'm quite excited about those. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this actually pans out over the next 6 weeks. But those are the 15 companies that I had on my radar. I know that there were many that were suggested that were outside of the tech sector. And whilst we might have some companies that will straddle across two different sectors, like, for example, Tesla, I did want to try and make sure that I stayed as close to the prescribed brief as possible as I saw fit. In terms of companies that I didn't include, there were a number that I didn't specifically include for personal reasons in terms of my investment strategies. So, for example, there was Raytheon Technologies. They work in aerospace and defense. Didn't necessarily want to invest any money into anything that does armaments or feeds into anything like that. The same thing can be said for Raven Technologies as well. So they didn't make it on the list. I was going to add Palantir, Zoom, and Churchill Capital. I didn't add those because I just felt as though market sentiment wasn't actually great. And when I think of people like Churchill Capital, I was reading the piece over the weekend, and they were talking about the EV sector specifically in EV stocks. And there is this notion at the moment around EV stocks that maybe we've had just maybe a little bit too much of EV at the moment, because it's a very, very exciting arena on the stock market. But there are so many new players coming to light and so much news coming out. And the article suggested that actually maybe some of these investors are now going to start looking at the guys who are actually selling product, who have vehicles out on the market, who actually have a little bit of a head start, particularly with the bill that Biden's just released out in the States that is rumored to benefit Tesla quite nicely. So I didn't include Churchill Capital for that reason. I sat on that for a while, but yeah, I just excluded them because for me, they've just started out. I think a lot of the hype that they've had around the SPAC and that coming into the public market has been off the back of Chamath and a little bit of excitement. But when I really look down into what they're actually doing and what they are proposing to develop, I don't know that they have enough legs or enough momentum to be able to keep up and actually compete competitively at this point in time. And this is just my opinion, guys. I could be wrong, with the likes of Tesla or any of the EV stocks that are out there currently. I mean, the car is a few years off anyway. And this is assuming Tesla is going to stand still. I know that they're aiming at a particular segment of the market, which is the premium luxury side of the market. However, you're still going to have to steal the march on Tesla. And whilst they're talking about 500-mile battery range, well, you're getting that in a Model S right now. So, if you're bringing this car out in 2-3 years' time with a 500-mile battery range, and Tesla's doing that right now in the Model S, where is Tesla going to be in 2 or 3 years' time? So for me, Churchill Capital was out. Could have been a good stock to have into trade, but I don't know. I just didn't feel that great with it. QuantumScape almost made it in as well, but I would have had to replace it with something else. And I'm comfortable with the ones that I have in there at the moment. Other ones that didn't make it: BioNano, DMY Technologies. DMY Technologies was a really good company to look at as well. BioNano works in the genomics as well. I believe that's also in the Cathie Wood's ETF, genomics ETF. And there were a number of other ones as well that didn't go in. Like I said, Neo ended up getting pulled. It was in for a while, but I had it under amber, and that was purely because of the analyst ratings behind it. There was a sense of a bearish sort of stance to the stock, which I didn't necessarily like. I wanted to have some stocks that had a bullish outlook. I had Square in there, Cloudflare, they also came out. The one stock that I did buy that had a bit of a 50-50 was actually Ant Systems, which is the one that Manolis actually mentioned. It was a 50% buy, 50% hold. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will explain all of this in the video on Friday. So those are the stocks. That's where we are. The approach I've taken is a little different to what I originally intended, but I didn't want to depart too much from what I already know in portfolio construction. So I've got 3 companies in there that will have 30%, 10% each. That's going to give me my foundation. Then the remaining 12 stocks are pretty much where I would like to think I can get the most of the growth from. If I break down the portfolio as it sits, there's quite a few in the chip semiconductor arena. One that almost went in there was Taiwan Semiconductors. I didn't have enough time to do all the research for it to include it, so I've just left it as it is. It will be interesting to see what I substitute later on through this process for Taiwan Semiconductors, because apparently when you read about the business, there's a shortage in chips at the moment, and that is something that even the White House are looking to address. Taiwan Semiconductors are very important to the supply of these chips, and the technology they have with what they basically offer means that they do have a little bit of a strategic advantage in terms of how thin it is and power efficiency and heat management, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, 3 companies that are going to give me foundations, 12 of which are going to be there to grow. We'll see what happens, but I don't know what Anna has got within her stock. So if she does do a video, I will be extremely interested to see what she has put into her portfolio. I'll be interested to see if there's actually any any overlap with some of the companies that we've chosen as well. I'm sure that there will be. I'm sure that she probably has Tesla and stuff like that as well. But for me, this isn't really about winning anything. It's more about actually there'll be some key lessons that will be useful to talk about here on the channel and via lives as this progresses through the 6 weeks. Will my tactics change? Will I get more involved and actually want to start getting involved with it on a day-to-day basis? I don't know. This is going to be really, really interesting because this is not something that I would typically do. I would build a portfolio with a 10, 15-year time horizon because that's how long I'm looking to invest for, 20 odd years, and I would just literally build it, leave it, and maybe review it once a year, every 12 months. With this, we're looking at 6 weeks. So market volatility really does matter. We need to look at, are there any companies with Q1 results? I think I have about 3 or so that have got Q1 results during this 6 week period. So let me just find those and I can outline those to you guys. So I have got, let's just reduce that down quickly. Bear me 1 second, guys. Yeah, so Q1, we have got Qualcomm with a Q1 results on the 28th of April. We've also got Microsoft with Q1 results 24th of April. Now, this should be interesting because I'm betting that the Q1 results for Microsoft should be good. So we should see a little bit of a tick up in the share price as a result of that. And AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, have a Q1 result on the 27th of April. Only 3 stocks within this cycle, but who knows what's going to happen and how that can actually benefit the share prices as long as Q1 results are good, obviously. If the Q1 results are bad, then there might be a negative shift in the share price. But there are so many moving factors, so many contributing factors to this that I can't control it from here in this room. A lot of this stuff is very much out of our control. So it'll be interesting to see what the results look like at the end of 6 weeks. And when do I need to give an update on this? It's going to be not this Friday, it will be next Friday, which I believe is the 23rd. So it'll be interesting to see where we are halfway through and where we end up on the 7th of May when this challenge effectively ends. But let me just have a look and see if there's any questions on here. If you do have questions, guys, feel free to ask. This will be an opportunity for you. Autodesk are also within ARCs. Okay, here we go. This is good from Manolis. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't checked out Manolis's channel, because Manolis is essentially he comes at looking at stocks from his knowledge of his industry. He's an engineer, I believe. So if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go check him out right there and show him some love. So I didn't actually know that Autodesk were actually in the ARCs 3D printing ETF. I didn't know that. I've mainly paid attention to her tech ETF, and well, I actually want to pay a little attention to her space ETF and her genomics. I'm really, really interested in her genomics. The way she talks about it is quite interesting. What do I think of Bitcoin? Is a question on here. I think Litecoin. I don't have any opinions on Litecoin. I haven't looked at it. I don't know that I would actually buy Litecoin personally myself. I could be wrong, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a look at it. I think you just have to obviously know what it is that you're buying, and with all Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, I should say, make sure that you only invest in money that you can afford to potentially say goodbye to. I mean, the rumors around Bitcoin at the moment saying that it's going to dip by 80-90%. It's just crazy. Like, this is a lot of speculation going on, and I think whenever you go into anything, just like stocks, you have to be willing for things to go up and down. So invest what you can afford to lose and what you feel comfortable with, being the mantra really here, because I think that's really, really important to remember. Guys, do me a favor. There's 45, 46 of you on here. I've only got 12 likes. Let's smash that like button, please. Let's see if we can get it up to 30. That would be much appreciated. Someone's saying he's got Samsung. Yeah, so TSM is the Taiwan Semiconductors, isn't it? I didn't have a look at Samsung, they weren't on the radar. Siemens was potentially on the list. But with what I did, I just kind of felt comfortable with the ones that I chose there. But Samsung, potentially really, really good. Phones are doing well as well. So, all right, cool. Guys, There we go. So there it is. I mean, I'm going to leave this video up on the channel so that anybody who wants to come and have a look at this can obviously come back and have a look at the stocks that I've selected on here. Again, obviously, clearly, guys, this doesn't mean that you should go and buy any of these stocks yourselves. I bought these stocks because we've got a 6 weeks challenge on with stake. So please do bear that in mind. Do not take this as financial advice. As always, if you're going to buy stocks like this, you need to do your own research. Your capital is at risk, so please do remember that. So use this as to formulate part of your own research. If you're going to be looking at any of these companies, you need to kind of understand what it is that they actually do, how they make money, so on and so forth. I haven't really paid too much attention to financials within this because for a 6 week period, financials aren't going to really come into it. Long-term investing, though, they actually do, because you want to make sure that you're buying a solid company that will appreciate in value in terms of its share price over the long term. This is a completely different approach. Like I've said, it's not something that I would normally do. So please, if you are going to buy any of these, make sure that you do your own research. Make sure that you're comfortable with what you're doing as well. If you have not got your free share with stake, make sure that you do. They offer a free share in Nike, GoPro, or Dropbox. You have to fund your account with £50 within 24 hours of you downloading and opening your account, though. Please don't forget that. I've had a few people say, well, I didn't get my share. When I asked, well, did you fund your account within 24 hours? They said no. So it's really important that you remember that. But as an alternative to Trading 212, because they're still not opening accounts, they are a good alternatives. They give you access to financials. If you get into their black account, you also get access to the analyst ratings, which I'll show you guys on Friday. Analyst ratings are good if you're trying to do research and you're trying to figure out what the likes of JP Morgan or some of the big boys with huge sums of money who would typically buy these stocks are thinking. Ideally, you want to go into a stock that is bullish, right? Because stocks on a bullish trend tend to go up. You don't want to be buying stocks on a bearish trend. So analyst ratings can help you make a decision. It's a component of some of the research that you would do, not all of it. And I've included it in my spreadsheet here as well, as part of the research that I've done for some of these companies. So they give you access to analyst ratings for financial accounts. That's part of their black account. So I would just encourage you, look, it's a free share at the end of the day. So go and check them out. They are US market specialists. So you can only use them to access the US market, not the UK market. So just please bear that in mind. But there's a free share. I think Nike are trading about $130 right now. So you've got a 1 in 3 chance of basically doubling your money if you use the link. And the link will be in the comment section of this video once it's uploaded as well. So guys, let me see if there's anything else that I've missed, any other comments that I've missed or any questions that I've missed. SOXL. Let me just write that down, Marika. SOXL. Let's have a look at that. I've written that down. I'll take a note of that and have a look at it. I'm going to review this again on maybe like Friday or something like that, just to see where we are 1 week in. So if there are any changes, and if I do swap them out, I'll also let you guys know. I'll probably do a number of live streams just like this one to kind of give you an update as to where I am, whether I'm doing okay, whether I'm doing bad, whether I do need to change my tack. And you can kind of get an insight into maybe some of my reasonings for any decision that I do make as well. So thanks for that, Marika. I will literally check that. I've written them down now. Let's see if there's anything else that I've missed. I like that secret source for semiconductors. Good. Okay. Yeah, I wish I had time to day trade these things properly. I just don't. There's so much going on. So yeah, I just wish I did, but I just don't have time to day trade it properly. So who knows what's going to happen? Okay, but I think I've captured all of the comments that are on here. I appreciate you guys for joining. Come on, guys, we're at 21 likes. Let's get to 30, please. We just need 9 more. It will help the YouTube algorithm. It will help others get to see this video as well. I do have a video coming out, obviously, tomorrow. I'm going to talk about something that, again, oh my God, I've been dragged. Well, I wouldn't say I've been dragged into talking about, but because I've spoken about this a number of times before, I feel like I need to continue speaking about it because some of the stuff that is going on behind the scenes that they think I'm not going to hear about is just atrocious. And when I talk to people about doing your own due diligence and making sure that you know both sides of the coin, I think it's really important for people to understand and to appreciate and see behind the veil of some of the facades that are put up on social media in a bid to access your money with no real customer service, no real genuine desire to really help you. And some of the stuff that is happening right now is really, really, really shocking. Just in terms of the way they're treating some of their customers that are already in there, and some of the stuff that has come to my attention over the weekend. So I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. But again, look, people need to make their own decisions. But I just think that if I can provide any perspective around what these people actually operate like behind the scenes, then it's another level of awareness for people to be to take into their decision of whether they do use them or not. So I'm sure it's going to be interesting. However, I'm sure that it's also going to be is also going to warrant a lot of negativity. And whilst I like to shy away from negativity, sometimes you have to just take it as it is. And I'm more than willing to take it as it is in order to just kind of show people what's going on behind the scenes and some of the stuff that I've seen over the past weekend, really, to be honest. So be interesting. We're at 26, guys. Let's get 4 more before we end this stream. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. We've also got a video on Friday as well. The video on Friday will be a bit more of an in-depth look at the research tools that I've used for some of this within Stake. I might highlight one other one as well, which I've also used too. So we'll talk about that on Friday. Live sessions, we'll probably do another live stream maybe next week, possibly, maybe over the weekend. It might be a little sporadic, so just make sure you watch out for the notification bells. If you've not hit the notification bell, by the way, might be worthwhile doing that if you want to keep up to date with this. Notification bell will tell you when I schedule a live like this or upload a video, so probably worthwhile doing that. But guys, whatever you do this evening, make sure that you have a really, really good one. Look, we're almost back to normal now, which is great. So I'm sure that people are out and about right now. I'm anticipating that YouTube is going to be extremely dead over the next 2 to 3 weeks as people take advantage of the lockdown rules easing. I'll just say that, guys, make sure that you stay safe. I'm in London over the weekend. This weekend, there's a project that I've been dying to get started on that we're going to start moving the needle on this weekend. So I'm excited, and hopefully we have great weather as well. But guys, have a good evening. Catch you later on.